SEARCH is an interdisciplinary doctoral network. It's a Marie Curie action financed by the European Union. This doctoral network is composed of 10 students in anthropology of climate urgency, studying on the ground how climate change is perceived.
I would like to say something about the midterm event, because we spent almost 10 days together, and it was not a traditional conference room, the place where we were doing the conference. We traveled navigating on 2 sailing boats from the coast of Sicily to the Aeolian Islands. It was really a floating environment with a lot of exchanges of ideas, but also different ways of thinking of what we are as a consortium and what we are doing together, and different ways of collaborating.
Yeah, so it's day 4 or 5 on the boat. I'm not too sure. The days sort of blend into one another, which is one of the nice things about the sailing, I think, that you can't keep, like you keep track of time differently somehow than you would otherwise. And I think this is something that the boat facilitates very well, that things will happen at their own time, and there's no rush to do anything, but everything will come together eventually.
After a semi-comfortable night's sleep, we first thought about that it's okay to be tired and exhausted, present with that feelings, if you don't have to perform and undertake tasks. So maybe that's a presence in a potential post-capitalist society. And we want to...
So in the boat and during all these days in our midterm event, we were preparing for and also developing climate urgency theory. Students were asked to present their research, present their fieldwork, their empirical data, and also try to relate them, to compare those case studies and to relate them to bigger issues.
Hello, Johnny. Hello, everyone. Yesterday we had our first workshop. I coordinated it with Suranga and Tito, and we discussed about using photographies and images in our research.
So one topic of discussion on the boat was how anthropology and our project SEARCH can engage with climate urgency and climate action at large. And this is not only to inform action, but also to engage ethically with the work we're doing.
And the ritual is to dispose the organic trash over the sea. And it's a nice connection, global ethnographic connection, because we have yerba mate from Argentina, which is now going into the Mediterranean Sea. That's a really good interruption. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Avishka. These past few days on the sailing boat has been an interesting journey, with many ups and downs, just like the waves of the ocean. From sharing a communal space, to unconventional showering rules to conserve water while sailing, to in-depth discourses on climate urgency from an anthropological lens. The ocean provided a beautiful space for commonality and solidarity to strengthen our togetherness in this journey.
I mean, collaborating for us is not just a method, but it's also a way of both physically and intellectually sharing a common encounter with the vulnerability that the sea endures and we are exposed to.
This is a goodbye ritual. For one obvious reason, it's our last night together. And I was inspired also by what Matteo said. We have these 2 cards and we spend time together as different sort of collective entities. So hopefully it's a goodbye also in terms of meeting again and becoming part of an entangled network of some sorts. From J. John. Ritual reminds us of what is sacred and that we want to defend. In ritual, we recreate our ties to each other. We are reminded what true freedom is. a paradigm shift from the isolating, disconnected free electrons of the I, able to do what it wishes, promised by capitalism. Rather, ours is an embodied freedom, where communities of humans and more than humans are nested and entangled and tied up with each other. Without our relationships to our food and friends, air and water, land and lovers, we are not free to flourish at all.
After this experience here, we are in a new condition because this is a monastery of the Benedettini in Catania, and it's a real interesting historical place where we will move from the sea to the magma stones. And I think it's interesting to say that even in this space there is a way of understanding the connection between the volcano, the city, and this idea that there is this destruction and reconstruction. And there are different layers of histories and deepness. I think collaboration was really the core of our discussions, both at sea and here in Catania.
For me, also exciting is that this whole consortium, this collective of 10 PhD students will be able to reflect on eco-ethnography, citizen science, what are the limitations, what are the opportunities, what are the possibilities, based from their own experiences and experiments.
Allora, Nives, che cosa è INDI?
Hi, I'm Nives. I'm part of HIMBY, Hot in My Backyard, and we are a group of anthropologists and also other kind of social engaged actors, and we are research and practical kind of association, and we develop workshops all over Italy around the question of finding an alphabet for talking about climate change.
2 laboratories is what we do, one following the other, around the cultural and symbolical aspects of the climate changes and of fossil culture.
This is climate change, and you know, go there. A great bundle, which is not a thread, which is not, no, it's not even an entanglement, of 5 different aspects of climate change in which we are all enmeshed. But if I take one, I cannot discern from the other, and when you discuss climate change, it gets always crazy. No, what is global, local, the activism, the theory? We cannot observe from outside because we are within it, and we are in this bundle. So the attempt of these 2 laboratories is to discern. Get faster, it's accelerating. Urge front, where talks about urgency. Yeah. And things are accelerating. Academy is accelerating. Writing is accelerating. Okay, now we can get smoother.
The attempt is participating, mobilizing, and finding a common social alphabet, and also finding the words by which together we can share all the double bind, all the dilemma in which we are all entangled.
The change which is changing. It's not that trees changing, it's not that just the weather, the season changing. The change of all these elements is changing. And so our words for change, and we are not the change actor, the other.
Climate change is not going in the right direction. And I think it's a direction that we cannot change. They're not taking any action, on the contrary even.
We need to empower ourselves and empower our communities and be committed in radical changes, but also doing action things and not in the abstract side.
I am Rosario Sapienza. I work for Impact Hub. Impact Hub is a social innovation incubator, and we are associated partner to the CIURG project. We ran yesterday a workshop within this event about transforming ethnographic work into a possible project. So we try to stress young researcher into the possibilities of grasping the novelty, the most interesting parts of their own research in order to transform this into a possible project. It was very exciting for me, for sure, but I think also for the young ethnographer that attended to the meeting.
So the attempt now will be to find our own positionality and to define it somehow. Where will you put yourself, considering the global and the local scale? So I start to see that here we feel a lot of global tendencies. And so you can imagine that there is a more theoretical dimension, and so find a way in which your body can reach a more theoretical dimension. Or maybe you can imagine a more, how to say, a more practical way, no? A more close to the ground, close to the practices.
Starting from your fieldwork and trying to understand the three main questions. There are something that you can stress that is new, innovative. So I'm looking for your painful reflections in order also to give new meanings to what social innovation can be.
At this point in time, perhaps one can wonder when climate change and all environmental destruction, in fact, is undermining the very conditions of life, as it were, not only for ourselves and other human beings, but also of other species and elements. Maybe it becomes truly an ethical question that we need to engage in one way or the other, and perhaps even act in ways we haven't had to do before. I think that in the same way that we shared the space on the boat, we navigated these intimate spaces, these relations, learning to look for the clouds down to the sea, we can also learn how to navigate the climate crisis, as it were, and use anthropology to bridge these tensions and bringing ethics to the fore as a core part of our work. Yes.
Nice.
All right. Yeah.
Today is a perfect day to die, but I think even if the future is not clear, life is beautiful, and fighting in life is beautiful in itself. So trust is in the process of fighting, is not in the future. And the life is beautiful if we fight. If we don't fight, it's not beautiful anymore.